Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Between a couple of our flights this year, we had the opportunity to spend a few nights in the beautiful Spanish city of Barcelona, and we just could not pass that up. We had never been to this part of Spain before, but we knew that with the combination of warm weather, plenty of sun, and tons of things to do, it would be a great place to be during the cold winter we were experiencing in Germany. Barcelona is a very large city located on the Mediterranean coast of northern Spain. With nearly 4.8 million people in the surrounding area, the Greater Barcelona Metropolitan Territory is the fifth most populous region in the entire EU. Barcelona is also the capital of Catalonia, an autonomous community of Spain, and the Catalan culture can be seen and felt in many different ways here. Also, the weather in Barcelona is very temperate and dry in the winter, making it a perfect place for a winter holiday. After getting settled into our hotel, we hit the town right away, determined to see as much as we could in our short couple of days here. Our first destination was the famed Park Güell. We made our way up the little hills that led to the park, which were pretty steep, but we were actually quite happy to find a few escalators to assist us on our upward journey. How was that?
That was strenuous.
Yeah, luckily there's escalators now. Given the number of hills in this city, Barcelona has actually installed several of these escalators all over town. Eventually, we made it to the park. If you've ever seen Instagram pictures of Barcelona, they were most likely taken from here. Park Güell is a large, privatized park located on the north side of Barcelona in the foothills of the mountains that surround the city. The park was built up over 14 years and ultimately opened in 1914. Park Güell was founded by a wealthy industrialist, Josep Güell, who assigned the design of the park to the well-known Catalan artist, Antoni Gaudi. Gaudi designed many of the well-known sites in Barcelona, including the Casa Vincennes, the Casa Calvé, and the Casa Mila, as well as the Sagrada Familia. You can see how many of the works in the park followed his unique abstract style. This park was originally designed to be a community of houses and common spaces for people who wanted the most up-to-date technology and who wanted to live outside the confines of normal conventions. However, only 2 houses were actually ever built here, and neither of them were designed by Gaudi. The first thing that struck us about this park was just how much walking you could do. There are several paths all over that wind their way up and down the side of the mountain, making it a very walkable place. There are also so many green spaces here. She had to take off her sweatshirt.
Yeah.
It was a hike up here.
Yeah, it really was.
One of the areas we visited was the Tower of the Three Crosses, one of the highest areas of the park. From here you can get a nearly 270-degree view of the city below. In the morning light, it looked absolutely spectacular. From there, we made our way down the winding paths to another interesting structure. To construct these paths to have only a slight incline up the side of the mountain, Gaudi had to design a structure to hold them, and he did so by creating these pillars. Much like a highway interchange, the paths up the mountain cross over each other several times, providing the walker not only a unique view, but also a very gentle slope to walk up. From there, we made our way to the lookout area, which is probably the most photographed part of the park, and which was definitely the most crowded. From here you can look past the interesting architecture of the houses by the front gate and get a great view of the city and sea beyond. This place is actually right next to the main entrance of the park, so this is also where many people enter and exit. To be honest, we would recommend entering the park from one of the other entrances, like we did. If you enter here, you get a great view at first, but then you have to climb uphill no matter which way you want to go. We entered on the western side of the park, and we basically had a pleasant walk downhill through the entire area. Underneath this main lookout area was another space designed with huge Doric columns and some mosaics on the ceiling. There are also a few monuments in this area, which make it a very fun and colorful place. However, after all that climbing, we needed to take a quick rest before continuing on for the day. Our next area of interest was the Castle of Montjuic, located on the south side of the city, near the port of Barcelona. Once again, we knew that it would be quite a hike uphill, but the weather was nice and it was sunny, so we started towards the mountain. On the way, we found the Placa de Espanya. Two massive towers, called the Venetian Towers, are located here. And it's not really surprising that they're called this, since they look exactly like the towers we saw while we were in Venice. From the plaza, we walked towards the Montjuic National Palace. This palace, located on the bottom of the hill where the Montjuic Castle is, was constructed in 1929. It's now the location of the National Art Museum of Catalonia, and is generally open to the public for exhibitions and shows. The building and the area leading up to it are very impressive. Once again, you do have to walk up a series of steps to get to the top where you can enter. A lot of stairs, huh?
Lovely stairs.
However, the convenient Barcelona escalators were also found here.
It's just so grand.
What do we think?
It's very grand.
Yeah.
Well,
Did not expect it.
no, for an art museum.
On the way past the museum, we got some amazing views of the city below. Looks good, huh?
Yeah, looks good.
From the bottom of the hill, there are a couple ways that you can get up to the castle. You can always walk up the winding roads, which takes some fairly steep inclines. For us, that was a no-go. You can also take a bus from the bottom of the hill to the top. There is also a funicular railway that's hooked up to the main metro lines of the city. However, we were on the wrong side of the hill to use this funicular. So, we had to take the final option: the teleferic or the cable car. This cable car starts its route about halfway up the hill and then reaches all the way to the Montjuic Castle. From there, it was only about a 5-minute walk to the gates of the castle. Does this give you flashbacks?
Yeah, this one's a lot nicer than Malaga.
Yes, very much.
Yep.
So we are on a cable car. They're talking to us. No idea what they're saying.
Well, you can hit the British thing.
I did, and it didn't do anything.
Welcome.
Oh. We're not going quite as high as we were in Malaga, are we?
I guess not.
No.
I can't really tell though.
The cable car cost about €10 per person to ride. For Spain, this was a little bit expensive, but the views we got were priceless. It was amazing to see the city from this high up and from so many angles in the dwindling light of the late afternoon. Not only that, but we arrived directly in front of the castle. The Montjuic Castle's history started as a fort built in 1640 to protect the city during the battles of the Catalan Revolt. This fort was captured and recaptured many times by British, French, and Spanish forces throughout the centuries. As late as 1939, during the Spanish Civil War, the fortress was used as a principal defense position, as well as a place of imprisonment and torture. Since then, the fortress has taken on a role that's a little bit more accommodating to tourism, becoming a military and history museum. Here you can see many different types of arms, armors, and weapons used through Spanish and Catalan history. There are also some interesting and interactive exhibits showing the history of the fortress itself, including its role as a signal post tower before any of the outer walls were built. That's where it all began. From the outer walls of the fortress, you can get some amazing views of the city, the sea, and the port. What do you see?
Land of opportunity.
Right. They've always said that at Barcelona. Thought I lost her. She's just creeping around in this wee little thing. You see up there?
Same stuff.
Yeah. From this high up, and with this much of a vantage point to the sea, it was no wonder that this was a major defensive position throughout the years. They even have some of the big guns that were used in the Spanish Civil War still standing here for people to appreciate. You can walk through the fortress and even up to the roof, which was very wide open and offered even greater views of the surrounding area. It was really quite surreal to get such a great view of the sea and the city of Barcelona below. After getting our fill of the castle, we decided we should head down the mountain and back into the city. We wanted to go into the older part of the city since we hadn't had a chance to explore it yet, but to be honest, we had a bit of an issue getting down. We exited the castle through the cable car and rode back down to the station where we embarked. We saw signs for the funicular railway that would take us down the other side of the mountain into the city, but we just couldn't find it. After walking around for several minutes and asking directions, we eventually found that we actually had to go inside the building that the cable car was on top of. We were so flustered trying to find this thing that we didn't get to film it, but here's a picture of the funicular for your enjoyment. Anyway, we got out of the funicular and found ourselves in the subway station, which we took for one stop. This stop took us right to La Rambla. La Rambla is a well-known street that runs through the entire old town of Barcelona, from the port to the Placa de Catalonian. The street is very popular with tourists, and with its beautiful tree-lined sidewalks, plenty of shops, and tons of restaurants, who can blame them? On La Rambla, we found an amazing little open-air market, La Boqueria. This market had its beginnings in the 13th century, when the area was used for stalls to sell meat near the gates of the city. In the 19th century, the market was officially recognized by the city, and leaders agreed to build a structure to house all of the vendors' stalls. The rest is history. There's so much to see and buy here, including all types of meats, fruits, vegetables, seafoods, drinks, smoothies, desserts, and so much more. So many things.
Yeah.
We were getting a little peckish, so we decided to treat ourselves to some delicious empanadas. After devouring this food, we continued down the side streets into the old city, finding a beautiful basilica on the way. The Basilica de Santa Maria del Pi is a church in the Catalan Gothic style, and it's absolutely beautiful and unique to many of the other churches we find in Europe. While the current church was built in the 15th century, historians believe that there was actually another church built here in the 900s, right outside the city gates. We took a look around, and we were even able to hear an orchestra practicing for an upcoming holiday concert. One thing we noticed around this city is that there was no shortage of holiday decorations and cheer in public spaces. It made it feel extremely festive, even without the cold weather and snow that we're used to this time of year. The fire juggler was a little bit out of place for us though, although he was entertaining. Now it was pretty late in the night and we'd only eaten a small, albeit delicious, meal in La Boqueria, so we decided to stop in a little restaurant for some tapas before calling it a night. We got some tapas coming.
Excited.
We missed out on Tapas for the last 7 months. We wanted some. Yes. Catherine's just getting ready.
I am. I'm gonna eat with my hands.
Round one. With the
Excited.
with the beer.
Bismillah.
Yes. After dinner, we were stuffed, so we started to make our way back to the hotel. On the way, though, we made it a point to stop and see Casa Batllo. This house was designed by none other than Gaudi, who once again was making his mark on the city. The light show on the house made for a very beautiful scene, so we stopped for a while and enjoyed the interesting architecture. There's also a museum inside for those who are a little bit more curious about the artist, but we were absolutely exhausted, so we made our way through the warm winter night back to our hotel. Join us in our next video where we continue exploring this amazing city. You can come with us as we see the beautiful Palau de la Música Catalana, tour the Barcelona Cathedral, check out more of the Old Town, and of course visit the famed Sagrada Familia Church. See you next time!